Hi Virgo. Happy New Year. Gregorian. How are you? If you're new to this space, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back, of course. Alright Virgo. This year will be a bit more streamlined than last year. Seems to be things are doing this, and this is a beautiful thing. You love organization. So we'll go month to month, and I'm actually going to timestamp them and put that down below so you can reference throughout the year. Maybe it'll help you as you go along. And please remember, as this is a extended forecast, if you will, and we're doing this intuitively, then remember that you have a lot of free will as you go along, and most things are not indefinitely set in stone, right? So I see love yourself, love this life, Virgo. Everyone also received 4 two-word phrases, and yours are these, which I really like. We have brave squirrel, which is awesome. I saw a squirrel jump. It was climbing down a branch, and then it jumped over to another branch on the same tree, and then climbed up, and then dove into the next tree. And so I saw this image, this story as brave squirrel. And it was sort of a smiling squirrel, like it was happy to go to this next space, and knew that it could do it. And even though it could be for some of you where it may feel a little bit like a bigger leap, it's also within your ability or your capacity, depending where you are, okay? Your second one is loving kindness, which I just love so much for Virgo energy, for the collective loving kindness. Artistic endeavors, so something creative here. Endeavors, technically, in definition sense, can state something about effort, right? It's not like artistic explosion. It's an endeavor. So there's a plan with it. That's what I'm seeing. If you plan, I guess you will succeed. And then the last phrase is you decide. So there's something also very independent here, in ways of your own choices again. Right, we all have our own fates that we have to deal with or have had to deal with, but after a certain amount of that happens, then one comes to know their own power and realizes what they cannot do. I also saw something about the father. Could also be a part of this year in some way. Okay, let's see here. Virgo for January. Wow. The moon and judgment. Well, that's a big boy. Okay. So you're starting out the year. Something wakes up. It's like something's been sleeping and something wakes up, and it's really beautiful. It wakes up particularly something also could wake up emotionally too. And somebody else talked about this, where emotionality and spirituality are kind of the same thing in a way, right? Because what is faith? Faith in somebody, faith in a belief system, faith in yourself, what have you. Faith is believing in something, but not necessarily needing proof, right? Now, of course, some things you want to fact check, right? You want to double check and be like, is this helping? Is this hindering? Is this information or this connection, whatever it is it positive? Is it negative? Is it coming from a fearful place? Is it coming from a loving kindness place? I guess there could be something to do with, how do I see this? Oh, just so you know, Venus, they say, will be in retrograde most of January. Therefore, as the moon is emotional and judgment, and everyone's receiving this message because it's important, especially Venus doesn't do this often, so when she does, it's an important shifting space, right? You can alter things, again, wake things up that have been sleeping. Maybe some of you, your passion has been sleeping, or maybe like a feeling, again, that you want to like enliven or wake up. So when Venus is in retrograde again, this is going over feelings, going over what does it still feel good? That person, that job, that friend, that sweater, that haircut, you know what I mean? That jewelry, that couch, like whatever it is. Maybe change something in your home too. I see, do you have a place for your mother? Like, as an example, this is interesting. I'm seeing like a person that has their mother, and it's like, or your parents, and you're trying to think about, someone's thinking about whether they have, I guess the question is something about, do you have a space for your parents? Do you have space for, who do you have space, who are you making space, whom and what are you making space for? And when I said that at the end, after we double asked, what did I do? I put my hand over my heart, right? Which is sort of pledging a devotion to something, but there's also like a bit of a protection here, not so that there is any less loving kindness, but also understanding good boundaries too. So I guess there's, again, an adjustment in what feels good to you. And I would definitely look to the moon. We have the moon here. Look to the moon. And again, I see something that has been sleeping is now waking up. Okay, I guess we'll leave it there. I feel like we could keep digging in that one, but trying to talk to an angel here, it's too, I can't hold my breath that long. So, okay, February, Virgo. Okay, we have the Eight of Swords and the 10th house. So there's something at work you have to adjust. You want to, this is also just out in the world, right? So this is kind of like, maybe there's too much talking, or like, someone doesn't feel understood in some kind of way. I heard maybe you can help them if this is somebody else. Just a second. I want an extra card on that. Queen of Swords. Yes, so we had the Eight of Swords. Now we have the Queen, which just means that you have to make an adjustment. Either with paperwork, some kind of thought process, or a communication thing just needs to be adjusted. It's actually not a big deal. Eight of Swords is actually, it's all in your head. It's not actually what's happening, so just be aware of that too. Maybe some of you are like, are people talking about you, like, about you behind your back at work, or like, you know, some of you, this could, whatever. There's something where the mind is like almost a little bit paranoid. So remember that we can create our own troubles, you know what I mean? Or we create our own problems, really. Now I know that sounds simpler, but if the heart is strong, and maybe the serenity prayer in this time would be good. I heard, what do you care what another human thinks about you, if you know that you are doing the best and functioning and creating your life with a pure heart, then the only person you need to worry about whether you're impressing or not, like, I guess, is God. It's not, we don't, you know, through And that is shown through one's actions, and again, their faith. And maybe the thing is well, I guess January could also be for some of you kind of like a spiritual awakening also. Like you get to another level, or you open up something, and because of that, sometimes when we open it up or we drain something out, right, which I see this as more of a blooming, then what happens is this can make a person feel scared when you get to a new level, whether that's coming from a positive or a negative place. It always brings a little bit of fear. It's a new thing. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's another thing is don't change anything major. And if you happen to feel misunderstood, just try to reflect back into yourself, like, where do I not understand myself so well? Do you know what I mean? Or why are you worried about what so-and-so thinks? Or even what somebody else said, right? Don't let anything get under your skin is the point. No, Saturn. Maybe you need to make boundaries in this time. Let's see here. I feel like there's something else we need to say. Again, I see you don't need to change anything. Let's see what March is about, because we're gonna fold into that as the time goes forward. March for Virgo. There we go, Cancer and the Two of Wands. Right, so whatever this Eight of Swords mental space is, it goes back into the moon, which is Cancer. Here's more Cancer energy. So you're like, there's two feelings on side, and then there's your mental space, right? And you're such a heady person, like you're really smart, and that's wonderful. But emotions, I feel like for most humans, are kind of complicated. So anyway, when we get into March, Virgo, whatever that yucky feeling was, it's gone. And I actually saw someone doing Reiki on themselves, or like, you want to make sure too in February that if you do feel like you're getting stuck in your head, move your arms, go for a walk, dance, like jog in place, do something, like be excited, be excited, be excited. Like, not that you're not allowed to have a bad day, but just like realize that there's something that you're worried about that you don't need to be worried about. Okay. Again, I see it's all in your head. No offense. March. Well, again, this is another kind of like consideration to home, consideration to a feeling, consideration to comfort. You have a good idea in this time. You have a very good idea in this time. Yes, you do. There's the Queen of Swords again. What did we talk about? Artistic endeavors, you decide. You decide. And you do decide in this time. But because it's Pisces time, this is your opposite season, you could decide in this month, but I feel like the Two of Wands to me is more of a consideration. Cancer is also sort of a brewing energy. It likes to really get into something before, and into all the corners of it, right, before Saturn does something physical. So I feel like this is more of a contemplative time. Let's move into April. While your months are going by, like they're zipping along, but you're also looking to the future. I like that. You're like, okay, well, if this is this, if I do that, like what? It's sort of like playing chess, right? You're like thinking a few steps ahead, and that's actually helpful so that you can have things in the right order. Let's see, April. Yes, waning gibbous and the Queen of Pentacles. Here's your first Earth, super solid. This is refinement. Now there's still some consideration, and patience is needed in April. You could be a little bit uncertain. Maybe with Jupiter going through Pisces, or so they say tropically too, with that being your opposite, I suppose that could kind of be an extra. It's where Pisces is sort of almost feels stronger than you, which I feel in the way I see astrology is that you kind of are like the fisherman with the pole, and Pisces is the ocean. You know, like, so you want to make sure that you're staying grounded, that you're staying logical, and being loving, kind. Now, you have a lot to work with here in April. What do you want to do with it is kind of a question. I do feel like, again, I'm seeing the word alignment. Maybe you want to, I don't know, get your finances, or I guess taxes are due then. You know, see what you have and what you're working with. And I want you to realize how far also you have, how much you have grown. Okay. In yourself, what you have created physically too. This is important. You are an earth sign, so I do see that this is also an emphasis to be patient. What do you think the next steps would be? I heard if you could magically do anything, what would you like? What do you want to work? What are you working towards now? Maybe you're also coming to complete you're coming closer to completing something. Like something's become tangible, and then it's not that it couldn't keep growing and giving, but there's something where, like, again, there's a refinement. It's almost like I saw someone writing a book, and then they have their drafts or whatever, and they're multiple. You're on like the final draft, or like you've already done the final draft, and now it's just going over and double checking that everything is, you know, put in the right places and spelled correctly, which you love, right? Which actually you may need another person's help for that. Usually an editor is a person that is outside of you, so maybe some of you that would be helpful. Maybe some of you need an accountant, or some of you, again, need another person to help you in the next stage of whatever you're trying to create physically. And please nurture whatever you are creating with, right? Physically, etc. Let's see, May. Ooh, interesting. The void of course moon with the moon. Now the moon is here. You have the moon, you have the Cancer card, you have the waning gibbous, which is a moon, and then the void of course, which is a moon, and the moon there. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 moons. 5 moons. Virgo. Okay, void of course, in case you don't know, everyone's learning. Void of course is when the moon is like in an in-between stage. Usually the moon changes signs every 2 days, so they say. Void of course sometimes can be where you don't make major decisions during those times because, again, it's like something's in limbo, and so you don't want to jump from that place. I would maybe look over. Let me write that down for you. Void of course in May. Okay, I feel like you have this back and forth energy. Like, again, January is like, all right, you figure something out. Then in February, it's like, ooh, there's a bit of an issue. No big deal. Again, it's mostly internal. And then you have 2 of Wands. You're out there. You're figuring out. You know what you hold in your hands. You got good ideas. You're looking to the future, right? 2 of Wands is also you decide, right? No one else decides the 2 of Wands but you. Then we have Queen of Pentacles, which is actually solid, although she can represent a little bit sometimes in the undercurrent. If we look at the opposite of Capricorn is Cancer, right? Again, the moon. It can show a little bit of insecurity, but it's not because you don't have everything and more that you need and want physically, but it's because of an emotional space. And then we have this moon here. Very interesting. Well, I guess, again, specifically, whenever that void of course moon is in May, I see chill. This could also bring if you pause in that time, I would also, there's something too about sleeping, but if you pause in that time, then I feel like you can improve something through improvising, right? It's almost like you actually love to worry. You love to pick things apart, and it makes you feel uncomfortable, right? A little bit. But then what happens is you're inspired by that confusion, which is Pisces, a little bit on the other side of you. It's like, you're like, oh my God, that's crazy. All right, let me be good. You know what I mean? Like, and it's almost a comparison, but not to down on anything else, but just to realize how it makes you feel and what you're going to do with it. Let's see. Yes, Ace of Pentacles. And I guess if you view it in this way, and realize that there are some things that you may not understand. I guess this could also be a little bit of difficulty, maybe with family, or like, again, a little bit of misunderstanding. Mercury could be retrograde in this time. Let's see, Three of Swords. And if there is something that comes up here, I feel like this is an old thing. It's although it could be happening through a now thing, but again, it's like the same idea of it's all in your head. It's like, you are in control of how you feel. You're not in control of how anybody else feels, but you're in control of how you feel and how you want to react to the situation. And I would say if your emotions are really big, or for some reason you feel too tired, or things, you don't feel clear-minded, right? Then maybe there's some sort of change of plans in that space. You know, say you, I don't know, like you and your family do something in May or something usually, but it's almost like, oh, okay, well, it, you know, maybe if you don't want to do something, don't do it, I guess is the point too. Interesting. I'd like one more card on that. Venus. Whenever the moon goes through your moon sign in May, whatever that is, please try to take quiet day. Please try to take quiet day. Like as much as you possibly can. And I do see that you'll need extra sleep. Okay, let's keep moving. June, because this is just a path, right? The moon is about pausing. So is the void, of course. It's a time of pause. January, February, March, April, May, June. Virgo. Oh my gosh, you have another Cancerian card. You have the Queen of Cups. You know what's interesting too is I rolled the dice to pick the signs this year. And I rolled Cancer, and it was like, yeah, but I had already recorded Cancer, so I was like, do it again. I guess Cancer's reading could be very helpful for you too. That's another thing. Or your moon sign. Please watch that. It's probably the moon more than it's Cancer. Like watch that one and then the other one, and then whatever this is, it's like a triangulation point so you can figure out where you are. Because June, we have Cancer in the 12th house, which is also a kind of interesting. Just a second. Where do your feelings go? Virgo, where do they go? How connected are you to your mother? How comfortable do you feel right now? Do you love your family? Do you see everyone as your family? Are you happy? June. Well, Cancer in the 12th house to me is definitely, it's like the moon is there. So you want to rest. Again, I guess maybe you could be a little tired May and June. But the thing is the moon goes to the Queen of Cups, which the Queen of Cups is the queen of this kingdom, right? This queen of this queendom. So you're on the right track. And you have to know how you feel so that you aren't taken advantage of. Okay? There are also some really, really beautiful, like unknown, maybe you'll be coming to know, and maybe this is also where something wakes up, right? Because the moon again is sleeping, but the queen is awake. So this is also where something wakes up, and maybe this is some of your psychic abilities for some of you, or your magic. It could also be deep, deep, beautiful undoing and forgiveness. I'm proud of you for that. You know, maybe it's about like finally putting something to bed that you've struggled with in your life. You know, I heard everybody's got mama drama. Do you know what I mean? Like family stuff. And even if I actually saw this, and I know this won't relate to everybody, but even if, for instance, sometimes our mothers, our parents, our lovers, they can be our secret enemies. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes. And that's just like a karmic lesson from my experience. And those I've worked with, it's like, but part of that is also forgiveness and surrender, you know, and still loving and being kind regardless. And whatever the hardship was, softening those edges. And so I guess that's what you're doing. And it's in a very unconscious way. And I would say you would be doing a lot of that through your dream world. I also feel like because the earth that's here is the Queen of Pentacles, and because we're tapping into this emotional space more, this also shows me that I feel like your physical, financial space, that's settled. If for some reason you know when I said that it felt different, then, you know, put some energy in, put some feeling, obviously, into that. Right? And I guess this year is a lot with all this moon Cancerian energy about trusting yourself. Do you know what I mean? And knowing how you really feel. Being honest about that. And also not being deluded by anybody else's feelings, and realizing what you're putting your energy into. And again, is it loving? Is it kind? That which is coming from you, that which is coming to you. Do you know what I mean? And because the 12th house can be kind of scary with Cancer there, it can show a kind of like softening or contentment finally with something that's been hard for you emotionally. Okay? And I would say this is more May and June are where you might, maybe you're more focused on work, or it's more honed in on something. You may need to take a little extra space for yourself. Let's see, July. There we go. Vesta and the Page of Swords. Awesome. So this is protecting what you are devoted to. It is not being afraid of what other people think about the way you feel about God or spirituality, what have you. You know? You believe in reincarnation, but you grew up Catholic. It's like, it's okay. You can do both of those. You know, you can, it doesn't matter. And what's important here is, what are you devoted to? And one of those things truly being, and like having an awareness of I heard faith heals all. What is that page looking at? The King of Cups. Well, I guess with all this emotional energy that you just work through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, for 6 months, you work through something pretty emotional. Besides the middle of that is all earth, right? But I I guess this is checking in with how far that you've come. How is it going? What you're devoted to? Vesta can have a lot of energy, but she also needs to be replenished. So depending if you have her in fire, if you have her in water, air, pay attention. Particularly air and fire can burn out, right? Particularly fire. But meaning that it has to, because Vesta is a flame, she is fire, you have to replenish that energy, right? So this month is also sort of about taking turns or sharing the load, realizing, because the Vesta is a group of people all together that are working together towards a similar goal. Now, there is a person that's sort of a human that's sort of in charge of that, or makes sure that everything works together really well, right? And that the tasks are being delegated accordingly, and like things are fair. There's always a hierarchy in everything, right? Well, I also saw maybe there's something about like a religious take on something, or again, like maybe you make a decision that's spiritually based at this time. You know what I mean? It's logical, it's spiritual, you're not deluded by something. Something is so clear in this time. I guess also because you took that time to surrender and pause. Whatever that is a big deal, because it opens up something. Maybe it helps whatever the boundaries were, or the limitations you were feeling. Something is opening up. Let's see, August. The Sun and the Six of Cups. Awesome. See, there's your emotion. Like, so beautiful. So beautiful here, too. This is also having a great... I heard a great date. It's also really sweet expression. Maybe this goes in that loving kindness. This could also be artistic endeavors. I see someone's impressed with what you give, or maybe someone receives a really beautiful gift, goes on a date during the day, or like meets up somewhere. I heard in some town you don't know. I heard letting go. I see letting go of the ego. August, right? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, which is Leo, and this is actually a Leo card. So you're in the right energy here. It's conducive energy. It's easy. It's an easy flow, right? I do see you creating with other people really beautifully. I feel like you're feeling much... If you had any concerns about work too, or that kind of stuff, like what you're working on, your projects, whatever, it really is received well also. Maybe that's when you finally shine a light on something too. And again, we had all the moons. Yes, yes. We had all those moons, and now we have the Sun. And the Sun comes after Vesta. Oh, this is so beautiful. It's also be forgiveness in here too. In a really sweet way. It's like you finally put something in the right place, right? You're not afraid of expressing yourself. You're smiling more. And I see again, like you're going on a date or something like that. August, September. Okay. Vertex and the Eight of Cups. This is technically your birthday if you're tropical. So if you follow tropical. So we have... Vertex is about a karmic point, right? And sort of faded kinds of things. It can be also like a pivot point. With the Eight of Cups here, I feel like you just went from the Six of Cups to the Eight of Cups. So this is realizing what's good for you or not. I also see this is where there's kind of like, some of you could see this as like, oh, this is just like my fate. And then others of you are like, oh, this is my opportunity to use my free will and emotional maturity, spiritual knowing, to make decisions that are towards your highest good. And I see that this, I guess you're gaining some sort of bravery also emotionally this year. But it's probably more emotion than you usually would care for. But again, I'm seeing that the way everybody talking about Jupiter and Pisces is going to seem like more water. And I guess it could put people in their feels. You know what I mean? Put them in their feels. But it can also put you in your field also. You know what I mean? You're a peaceful field. Also a protective, beautiful, loving force field. Do you know what I mean? Like being aware and filtering correctly. Let's see October. 6th house with the Page of Cups. Just a second. Well, I guess this is kind of emphasizing how you start your day. You want to look at that, how you start your day. Could also be seeing like little things, little signs, or little maps, places. Although you may not know exactly what it is when you see it. So maybe this could be a great time to also sort of organize and like be like, why is, you'll just notice again, they're like this, I heard one of these things is not like the other one. One of these things is not the same, right? You know when things go together very easily. And maybe this is also another part of that creative process where maybe you're inspired by your child, or you're inspired by one of your colleagues, or you're inspired by an animal, or like a pet that you have, or just whatever your job is. Like there's something where you're like, ooh, this feels so good, is what I see. And you could have some really good ideas. Maybe this is another, we're coming to the close here of this Gregorian year. So I guess it's also looking over. And again, another water. So much water. Water everywhere. Instead of counting the months, I just did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. That's when it goes fast, right? K, L, M, N, O, P. K-L-M-O-P, K-L-M-N-O-P. Kids always smash those ones together because humans speak so quickly. Oh, if you also have children, you're reading them stories. You're speaking with your colleagues. Speak slowly. Maybe there's something here about, I saw the word eloquence. November. Solar eclipse and the 10 of Cups. Wow, that's a big boy. So this is like more water. It's water everywhere. This is so beautiful. So I don't know if there's a solar eclipse in. I made a note of that to add the eclipses, but I guess solar eclipses are about embracing change. Right? And it's a change in the heart. It's a change where there is light put into something. And so I'm actually seeing these people as totally embracing change, like open to it. And because you're not alone in this situation, you know what I mean? You're not, because solar eclipse is also is courage, right? And determination to, and the 10 is also like a great accumulation. It's like, obviously, hi cat. K2. Meow meow. Hi Zoomy. This is a beautiful connection. November. It's a really, really beautiful connection. I guess work could also be wonderful for some of you. Family, happy. You could have some really cool revelations at this time. I also feel like you have courage. You have an acceptance. There is great, again, harmonious connections, happy family. It's really, really awesome. Okay. December. Full moon and the Knight of Cups. There's another cup. Holy smokes, Virgo. I don't think I've ever seen this much of one element in someone's reading for a yearly reading. Interesting. So, again, it's as if, okay, so we start with the moon. There's another moon. The moon is, please watch your moon sign. Please watch your moon sign. Well, there's some sort of, this emotional journey that you're on this year, which you're not going to sink, okay? You're a fisherman on the shore. You're not a fisherman in the boat in the middle of the ocean. No. You wouldn't do that. I don't feel like any Virgos would be a sailor. You're a sailor, you're like a Leo, or no, maybe a Cancer, right? Point is that Sagittarius, point is that whatever this emotional journey is, you start with the moon. Oops, you start with the moon. Oh, I hope we have enough time. And then you have the full moon. It's like you feel, again, whatever has been, anything that's been dark or whatever is now light and completed in this kind of way. And I feel like whatever that completion is bringing such a beautiful feeling to it. Could also be, if any of you are working through old relationships romantically. I know a lot of Virgos have been celibate during this time, like just taking time for yourself, being independent. I know. And we've talked about this before. You can have, Libra, yes, you can have, for instance, that passionate, loving, nurturing, all the things that you can do for yourself and that you have with God. You can have that with other people, friends, lovers, Venus, too. You know, if you aren't there, and if you are married or what have you, you're in a relationship, well, then this is something that you can bring some more love into. You know what I mean? Because I know, again, your spiritual, intellectual is the deep end of the pool, right? And your physical, emotional, it can be passionate and out there. It depends what Virgo's doing in your chart. But as a general sense, it's like, I just actually saw the pool, which was like a triangle like this, that it leveled itself out. Do you know what I mean? It became like, I heard a mystical rectangle, which is an astrological, an astrological shape in a map, which is really cool. They're rare. 8 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles. Well, apparently, again, going on the right track. And from this point forward, it's like, you've already been working on your independence, right? You're working on this, working out who it is that you are, and focusing and taking that time to be a part of this life and to create, right? These cards are very much about creation and training too, right? It took you a long time to get here. You've experienced a whole bunch of things. Don't you forget. Don't you forget, you know? And what's cool about it is to go through life and not have so much armor on. Do you know what I mean? To be, I mean, to me, you're a very serious sign. You can be wild too, but you do have a seriousness about you and a maturity that's just like a part of your soul. So, you know, you're allowed to have fun too. And maybe that's what you, I don't know. Do emotions seem childish to you? Well, if they do, I guess there's something that you're meant to think about feelings this year and think and feel these feelings. And whatever your relationships are, really realizing who's solid and who's there for you, whether they're near or far, and what you would like in the future, right? Right. I love you so much, Virgo. Thank you for being here. I cannot believe all these moons. And then the sun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 'and the solar eclipse also kind of involves the moon. 8 moons. 8 moons. Put the moon in your 8th house. And if you want to, as another layer, you could take that sign and watch that, and that'll help you to understand more of what this emotional energy is. 8th house is your big life lessons, right? And I know you can do it. I know you can do it. Thank you so much for such a wonderful year. Here's to another really beautiful year in your lives, us together, humanity getting better, right? Working with each other more, loving each other, kindness, right? Better boundaries, more faith, right? I love you so much. Thank you for being here. However you have supported this space, however long we've been walking together, it's really, really a blessing. And if you'd like to know more, I have a Patreon page, those of you who don't know, and thank you for anyone who's decided to extend your education. Thank you. I appreciate that independent step. But if you'd like to check it out and see what else I offer, it's down below. I actually decided this year, because I just received a beautiful, I call them Nashada Daraz, because I cannot say that word. My tongue gets all tied. But anyway, I decided that to do astrological forecasts for everyone each month. So that'll be something new over there, in addition to all the other things. So anyway, I just love you so much. Keep smiling. Okay. And whatever this emotional, these waters are, I see you will do just fine. You're blessed in that energy, okay? But because this is a lot of water, make sure that whatever your grounding techniques are, okay? And make sure that they're healthy as much as possible. I love you so much. Peace out.